Rain was pouring down like it wanted to wash away all living things from Earth. A scared boy was standing by the road. That day, his life changed forever. This isn't real. Please, no. It happened long before we met. You know, sometimes people lose themselves. Some of them try to return to reality, but some do everything possible to escape from it. Hi, my name is Margot. I've been skating ever since I was a kid. Hugh was my partner. My parents invested everything in me. Time, money, faith. Yes, that's our girl, our champion. Years went by. Hugh and I grew up and fell in love. We became a couple both on and off the ice. The future seemed bright. But one day, my life fell into an abyss so deep it was hard to come back from it. It was my 18th birthday. We performed at yet another competition. Music, sparkling ice, admiring glances. I jumped into the air and fell down on my knee. A burning pain spread through my body. I couldn't even get up. I woke up in a hospital. My parents, Hugh, our coach, and my friends visited me every day. But it soon became clear that I wouldn't be able to keep skating with an injury like that. You'll be able to walk, but you won't be able to be a professional figure skater anymore. I'm very sorry. After that, the people I considered close friends started to disappear. Everyone forgot about me. Everyone but my parents and Hugh. I was discharged a couple of weeks later. Hi, I'm glad you're feeling better. I don't know how to say it. Just do it. We should break up. I've been thinking a lot. Figure skating was the only thing that kept us together, but your career is over now, and I need to move on. Sorry. He left, and I burst out crying like someone had stolen my last breath of air. It wasn't just because of Hugh's betrayal. I lost myself. I didn't know who I was without sports. A decommissioned item? An empty shell? I fell into a deep depression. I didn't eat. I didn't leave the house. I just stared at the wall with dim eyes. Margot, you need professional help. We're taking you to a special psychiatric clinic. Sure, whatever. I lived by the clinic's rules. I attended group therapy sessions and took my medications. Soon, the therapy brought results. I enjoyed talking to the nurses, especially Mrs. Dwight. She suggested that I look after the flowers in the clinic's garden. That's where I saw a guy who looked about 20 years old. He was walking among the labyrinth of roses with an aristocratic air about him, and he seemed lost in thought. Our eyes met for a moment. Something inside me fluttered. Mrs. Dwight, who's that? I haven't seen him in our group sessions. That is Daniel. He's a patient, too. Oh, don't ask. I saw Daniel a few more times after that, when he was reading in the library or playing chess in the common room. I wanted to come over, but I froze every time. Something about Daniel both captivated me and warned me to stay away. The door to sports had been closed to me, but at the clinic, I had a lot of time to think about what I wanted to do with my life. One day, Mrs. Dwight tried to give a pill to an old lady who was acting up like a little kid. I intervened. I won't swallow that poison! But your headache will go away if you take your medicine, and you'll be able to watch your favorite TV series. The old lady nodded and then took the pill and quickly swallowed it. Mrs. Dwight smiled. Thank you, Margot. At that moment, I felt whole again. It's true what they say. When one door closes, another opens. I would become a doctor. I was discharged a couple of months later, and then a new hell began. I thought Mom and Dad would at least hug me and say, "Welcome home." Instead, they looked at me with disdain and pointed at the mountain of bills on the table. Our family is on the verge of bankruptcy, all because of you. What? We invested too much in your future as an athlete, and you let us down. You don't bring home any prize money anymore, only enormous medical bills. Hearing that felt like taking an ice shower, but without the invigorating effect. My own parents looked at me as if I was a failed startup. Are you saying I owe you money? A lot of it. We paid for your practice, skates, costumes for competitions. I can't believe my ears. You're monsters. That very day, I packed my things and I used the last of my savings to rent an apartment. It was tiny and it had mold on the walls. In the evening, I went to a store to get groceries, although all I could afford was instant noodles. As I was passing by the arena, I suddenly heard a familiar laugh. Hugh and his new girlfriend walked out of the rink. They were holding skates. Hugh was looking at her tenderly, the way he used to look at me. Apparently, that was his new partner, maybe even his new girlfriend. Margot? Oh, hello. How are you?" I didn't answer, and I walked right past him. At that moment, I realized that I had to follow my heart. Otherwise, I would fall right back into depression. I sold my first skates. They meant the world to me. But then I used the money that I got for them to pay for an accelerated nursing program. After I finished it, I was given a certificate as a junior medical assistant. I managed to get a job at the clinic where I'd been treated. Margot, you're back! I am, but now I'm not a patient. I'm part of the team. I was going to save money, pay my parents back, and get ready for the medical school entrance exam. The nurses quickly accepted me and shared their experience. Always keep extra napkins on hand. They can solve half of humanity's problems. The longer I worked there, the clearer it became that I truly wanted to devote my life to medicine. Things were going great, except for a nurse called Lewis. He had a crush on me, and it was terrible. That guy was way more persistent than an annoying mosquito. This is for you, gorgeous. Did you pluck this flower from our garden? I did. Are you ready to go on a date? How many times do I have to tell you? I want to focus on work and getting into college. Leave me alone and plant that flower back. He was about to say something, but luckily the head nurse came up to us. Margot, take the patient from room 214 to the library. Who are they? There's no record of them. His name is Daniel. He's a very pleasant young man, but Daniel thinks he's the prince of a fictional kingdom. That's why he's here. I was startled. That Daniel? When I walked into his room, he looked at me like he was trying to see my soul. Hi, I'm Margot. I was told to take you to the library. Pleased to meet you, Lady Margot. I am Daniel, the Prince of the Kingdom of the Three Moons. He had manners like a noble, that's for sure. Besides, Daniel seemed very well educated. As we walked to the library, he talked about history and art. I immediately realized I wanted to spend more time with him. Daniel's mind was a real mystery, and I wanted to solve it. That evening, I came home to my cheap apartment. Almost immediately, someone knocked on my door. Hugh, what are you doing here? I'm sorry for showing up without warning. Your parents gave me your address. Why are you here? I wanted to apologize for the way we broke up. And also, I need your help. Could you watch my practice with Lisa? She's my new partner. She could use some advice before the competition. After everything that happened, you only thought about me when you needed my help? I pushed Hugh out and slammed the door in his face so hard it almost flew off its hinges. I talked to Daniel a lot when I was at the clinic. He didn't like group activities, but he loved art therapy. One day, he drew my portrait. It looked so real, I gasped. Of course, Lewis kept acting all alpha male, but Daniel always won the arguments with dignity. A doodle from an idiot prince. Your inappropriate sarcasm is worse than any doodle. Lewis snorted and left. Daniel turned to me. Anger, it makes the heart dirty. I prefer to forgive. Strangely, his words inspired me. Later, I texted Hugh that I had forgave him and I was ready to help his new partner. I came to their practice on my day off. It hurt to be back in the place where my dreams were shattered. It hurt to see Hugh with someone else. But I gave Lisa a few important pieces of advice. Meanwhile, at the clinic, I started noticing something strange about Daniel. All the other patients had standard cards with their diagnosis, treatment plan, and family information. But everything about Daniel was classified. The head nurse kept his medical records in her office and only took them out when the door was closed. As if Daniel really was some kind of prince and his identity was carefully hidden. One day, Lewis tried to hit on me again, but I was so sick of him that I snapped. Are you really that stupid? Don't you get that I'm never gonna go on a date with you? He froze and then clenched his teeth and left without saying even a word. There was something unsettling about his calmness. I was on night shift that day. All the patients had been asleep for a long time. I was reading textbooks and preparing for the exams, but then dozed off. Then I heard a click. I looked up and saw that Lewis had taken my picture. I'll show the medical director you were sleeping on duty. Say goodbye to your job. Before I could say anything, Daniel appeared behind Lewis. Give me your phone. Try and take it. Okay. Hey, did you just delete that picture? If you bother Margot again, I'll challenge you to a duel. That's how real men solve problems. Although, you look more like an insecure child. Lewis was so confused that he couldn't think of anything to say. He just turned around and left. Thank you. It's an honor to defend my lady. Why aren't you in your room? I couldn't sleep. How about a game of chess? The soft light from the floor lamp made the room look magical. At some point, Daniel sighed sadly. Margot, you've become special to me. I want to be honest with you. There's nothing wrong with me. What? I'm acting like I think I'm a prince to hide here from the mafia. A few years ago, I witnessed a crime. They want to get rid of me. You know, the police were bribed by the mafia. I couldn't escape from the city, but I came up with another idea and I hid here as a patient. But I know they're looking for me. Daniel was serious. He seemed completely sane and terribly scared. I'm sorry for bothering you with this. No, I'm glad you trusted me. I just need to think about it all carefully. A couple of days later, I had another shift at the clinic. Everyone looked nervous, like we were about to be inspected. The medical director was talking to some man in an expensive suit and a hard look in his eye. Who's that? That's Mr. Harrison. He's a prominent figure in the city, and he generously sponsors our clinic. Daniel came out of his room. He saw Mr. Harrison and turned as pale as a ghost. What happened? That's the mafia boss. He found me. I froze. Mr. Harrison walked into the room and grabbed Daniel by the wrist. Not too hard, but it was quite sudden. Hello, miss me? Daniel shuddered. His eyes filled with horror. At that moment, the medical director looked into the room and called Mr. Harrison back. I'll be right back. It sounded like a threat. I was starting to believe Daniel. Margot, I need your help. If I don't run away, I'm finished. I need a little time to think about it. I don't have that time. If Harrison's here, it means he's known where I was hiding for a while. He must have bribed the clinic's management like the police. The medical director will hand me over to the mafia. I remembered Daniel's classified medical records. Maybe he was right. Maybe the clinic's management had already been erasing his medical history. No one would be able to prove that Daniel had ever been at this clinic. Okay, I'll help you. In the evening, after the visitors had left the clinic, I brought Daniel in nurse's uniform. We crept past Lewis to the fire exit. I opened the door with my key card. It was only when we were outside that I breathed a sigh of relief. Daniel had nowhere to go. He didn't trust the police. I let him stay with me until we figured out what to do next. Of course, everyone at the clinic was panicking in the morning because a patient was missing. My coworkers and I were interrogated. I pretended I didn't know anything. Lewis kept looking at me with a nasty smirk, as if he knew my secret. I was so nervous that my hands were shaking. Living with Daniel was easy. He slept on the couch. He made delicious dishes from the cheapest ingredients. He even painted my portrait in the evenings. I was fascinated by him, but over time, I noticed that something was wrong. Sometimes Daniel forgot himself and said strange things again. The weather in the Kingdom of the Three Moons is wonderful this time of year. What? Oh, just forget it. What if I had been wrong? What if Daniel was sick? Should I have left him at the clinic? During my next shift, Lewis led Mr. Harrison to me, smirking as usual. You said you would pay anyone who has information about your son. I watched the surveillance footage, and I saw that on the day of his escape, Margot left the hospital with some nurse. Their face wasn't caught on cameras, but I'm sure it was Daniel. Wait, you're Daniel's father? At that moment, Mr. Harrison didn't seem like such a violent mobster anymore. He looked like a worried father. I am. I'm a businessman, and I sponsor the clinic so that they take good care of my son here. For the sake of my business, I had to hide Daniel's identity from everyone. What happened to him? As a child, he witnessed the accident that killed his mother. After that, Daniel withdrew into a fictional world. My son received an education and lived a normal life, but he couldn't accept the reality and chose to escape from it. God, I'm so sorry. The clinic is the safest place for him. I won't report you, but if you helped my son escape, please bring my boy back. My heart almost burst with sadness, but I wasn't sure what to do and said that I didn't know anything about the patient's escape. When I got home, Daniel was nervously pacing the room. Margot, there's a war brewing in my kingdom. I need to go back to my people. At that moment, I finally realized that he really did live in another world. My prince, I'll take you to the kingdom. When we entered the clinic's lobby, the medical director was ready to tear me into pieces. Do you even realize what you did? You're going to get a prison sentence. No, police. This girl has been a good friend to my son. I promised that she wouldn't be punished. Daniel looked at me with a sad smile. It was like he knew perfectly well this was where he belonged. Can I ask you for one last dance? Of course. The next moment, the world changed. The clinic hallway suddenly turned into a palace. We looked like a real prince and princess. It felt like for a few moments, I saw Daniel's kingdom, but then everything snapped back into place. Thank you, my lady. Now there is peace in my kingdom. And he went to his room without looking back. What happened after that? I wasn't arrested, but I did get fired. I had a talk with my parents, and I said I'd pay back every cent as soon as I became a doctor. Hugh said that my advice had helped Lisa, and they won the competition. I replied, I'm happy for you. Then I deleted our chat history, severing my connection with the past. I fulfilled my dream, and I got into medical school. Sometimes I visit Daniel. I hope that one day he'll come back to reality. I'd be really happy if my story inspired someone, and because of that, they were able to find the light in the dark like I did.